Welcome everybody. It's a significant day for the Congress of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Nurses and Midwives. As the CEO of this organisation, I'm very proud to be at this point and under my leadership to be launching the Mullumalangari Cultural Safety and Cultural Humility. The program really shifts the agenda from being about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, which is the cultural awareness element of Irihapati Ramsden's work, to very much being about the values and the beliefs that have been developed by both Indigenous and non-Indigenous nurses and midwives as being products of Australia's colonial history. And in particular, asking you to focus on how colonisation has impacted on your values and beliefs about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and in particular the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in which you provide care for. So culturally safe nursing and midwifery practice, clinically safe nursing and midwifery practice is not possible without culturally safe nursing practice, and clinically safe nursing practice that happens without culturally safe nursing practice is actually racism within our discipline, and something that we want to address and not continue to inadvertently perpetuate. So without any further ado, I wanted to now hand over to Aunty Matilda Williams-House, who's been a very staunch supporter of the work of Katsanam, and we were very fortunate in that Aunty Matilda House actually gifted us the language name of Mullumalangari, and we have a short video of Aunty Matilda sharing with us the meaning behind the name of Mullumalangari.
My name is Matilda House. I was born a Williams, and my country is Ngambri and also Walgaloo with Wiradjuri. And I want to thank Captain for giving me the honour and the great pleasure of being here today to welcome you on country because of the name that I had given you, Mullumalangari. When we talk about Murra, when we talk about the pathway to our health and well-being with Mullumalangari. Mullumalangari, Murra. Mullumalangari, Murra. So you can say it any way you like. It still means it's a pathway for good health, for good well-being. So that's what Mullumalangari is all about, the Murra of the pathway of good health and well-being.
It now gives me great pleasure to introduce a founding member, Katsanam matriarch, Aunty Dulcie Flower, who's of the Arub Nation, and also a member of the Katsanam Inaugural Elders Circle, who passes on her apologies. She was unable to join us today, but is also part of the Mullumalangari program, and we're sharing one of the videos that are in the program with you today.
Because of the nature of the work we do and because of the control that we have over people in our care within a hospital situation at a given time, we are in control of that person's life at that point in time. And there is a tendency to think that you know everything and that you're a nurse, so therefore you and people look up to you. They also think, you're a bit of a know-all. And you've just got to be careful that you don't come across or don't antagonise by being who you are and demonstrating your control. Because I used to feel sorry for people. I'd look at them and they'd come into hospital and jump into bed and think, now they've willingly just indicated that, okay, here I am now, you're going to look after me. I thought, gee, if that was me, I think I'd be a little reluctant to be so willing to trust. And it's this question of trust, which is so valuable, that it's overlooked a heck of a lot. The trust people place that nurses will look after them, and the disappointment when something goes wrong in their treatment and something goes wrong in the way they're treated, when they do expect to be treated culturally adequately, culturally correctly, and to be spoken to or addressed with respect, and their privacy and confidentiality maintained. In some cases, it's not. So there's this huge, there's this whole question of just knowing exactly. It's something that you learn. You're not born with this. It's a whole learning process. You learn by your mistakes. Yes, you were right in saying that. And you learn by treading on people's toes when you don't mean to. You learn by blushing and having to apologise. You learn also by being publicly reprimanded in front of which is the most belittling experience you can have. And a way of reducing you down to sort of being the most junior sort of person in the whole group. Yeah, I think this is something that you really have to learn. It's not something you can perfect. It's not. It's just not. But you have to be aware of it and make an effort. And even then you can go wrong and still make mistakes anyway.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce you next to Dr. Karen Martin. Dr. Karen Martin joined our team not long after I did. Karen and I have worked together previously, and when working alongside Karen, I realised the piece of the puzzle that was missing from Aboriginal health education and cultural safety education. And I was guilty of being a practicing nurse who was doing my best to be able to teach. But what Karen brings is a background in Indigenous education, and particularly one of our leading Aboriginal educators across the country, which has brought just a significant strength to the Mullumbimangari training and brings together both in Indigenous health, but also Indigenous education pedagogy as well. Thank you very much, Karen.
Yeah, thank you, Royanne. Thank you very, very much. Folks, it's an absolute honour and a pleasure to be involved in the development of the Mullumbimangari program. Believe me, these types of opportunities come only, like a shooting star. And when they come, you hold on, you buckle up, and you're there for the ride and you contribute. So folks, I just maybe this is a buckle up moment, because I'm going to share with you some of those program factors that really have been given deliberate attention to this. And so first of all, it's an introductory program. So obviously 8 hours across 8 weeks, that we'll certainly be looking at follow-up programs. So don't be disappointed when you get through and say, I want more. It's meant to be introductory. And there are 3 modules. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we've got another very strong collaborator, Mr. Ganeshan Rao, who is going to take you through a demonstration of the platform. And so I'll talk about that notion that it's self-paced, but we'd recommend that, 8 hours over 8 weeks, that's a commitment of just 1 hour per week. And, that's a pretty good measure. But you can expect this to be different because it's actually not a training program. And I don't know if you were picking up on some of the points made by Ani Dulcie and certainly Adjunct Professor Alison McMillan. You can expect the Mullumbimangari program to be different. So first of all, it's designed specifically for practicing nurses and midwives. So if we do get students, they might be finding, the approach that they may not have the experiential set or the practice based kind of level to engage, but we'd encourage them to do it, but maybe not just yet. And there's an understanding, of course, that you come to the program with an existing knowledge and skills, beliefs and expectations, and that many of you may have undertaken programs such as cultural awareness, cultural competence, or similar. So buckle up, because this is actually about cultural safety. It'll take you to the next level. regarding cultural safety, and particularly a newly developed model that's unique to KATSINAM, unpacking that cultural safety and also cultural humility in nursing and midwifery practice. And very proud to say that it's informed by recent research and key literature. And here I particularly want to acknowledge and pay respect to Dr. Irhapadi Ramsden, who is widely known for her work in nurse and midwifery education in Aotearoa, New Zealand. But the KATSINAM model, KATSINAM program, is contextualised to Australia, obviously, because it actually contextualises that in terms of its historical, political, social and cultural factors. It's where we are and how we do things here. But a high level of attention is being given to what we educators call rigour in the curriculum design and also the teaching and learning approach. And yes, the assessment, there's some assessment that you'll do, but we have given so much attention to how that's done, you'll actually be thinking, that was the assessment? Oh, maybe I missed something. Anyway, Ganeshan will talk a little bit about that later, perhaps. Now, we've also included some practice-based scenarios, very important, and one that's called a practice-based reflection, where we have asked Auntie Dulcie, as you saw just a minute ago, to share some of her, I think it's 60 plus years of being a registered nurse, as well as someone who is just the personification of cultural humility. Everybody needs somebody like Auntie Dulcie in their life all the time. Now, some of these other special features that are included will be demonstrated later, but I want to really highlight that, as Royan's pointed out, that the biggest attention has been given to how Aboriginal knowledges and therefore Aboriginal pedagogy have shaped the decisions that we've made. So there might be a point in time where you think you know, moving along nicely and you think, oh, is that wrong or is that different? That actually might be the point where we're slowing you down and getting you to engage. We're not training you, we're getting you to engage as a very strong principle of Aboriginal knowledge and Aboriginal pedagogy. And the Murray Mulungari program, therefore, for some, it will consolidate what you already know about cultural safety and cultural humility. For others, it might mean that you're doing some unlearning and with that, some relearning. But ultimately, the Murray Mulungari program, and yes, in 8 hours, it's going to be about the transformation, not just of your skills, but particularly the roles and the relationships between 4 things: power, attitudes, trust, and safety. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, that's okay for you to say, Karen, you're heavily invested in this, and hand on my heart, I admit that. But in the middle of February, we conducted a pilot program and we invited 26 people. Well, we invited 42 actually, but 26 were able to manage it with their workloads, and 26 people took part in that pilot program. And that's where we learnt more about the participant experiences and their expectations, and also where we were pitching things on these claims of this being different. And we've incorporated that feedback into the current version of the program.
Next, we've got our learning and teaching design lead, who's actually going to show you the platform. And that's a really important aspect of today, for you to be able to see just the ease of access, but the professionalism and the standard and clarity that's on the platforms.
Hello, everybody. I am really excited to give you a presentation on the Murray Mulungari program and the platform. I'm connecting from the Jagra country, and I would like to pay my respect to the elders, past, present, and emerging, and I pay respect to the nation. Let me share my screen. So when you arrive at the landing page of Murray Mulungari Introduction to Cultural Safety and Humility, there are a couple of videos that you can watch, and this will help you familiarize the program and also some insights into what the program is about. There are program aims and what factors played a role in the design and development of the curriculum as well as the content. There is a list of frequently asked questions which will help you understand some details, and also some testimonials from a pilot. To enroll, there are 2 links, but if you want to understand how the details regarding instructions for enrollment. At this point, there is a support material. It's the enrollment information sheet, and it will allow you go step by step. And once you start enrolling, if you are there for the first time, you will be required to create an account and using an email and a password. And once you have created an account, it will take you step by step process for application. And this tip sheet has got screen captures and help. So coming back to the landing page, you are individuals enrolling, you go through this link, register and enroll as individuals. Organizations, institutions can bulk purchase. You have enrolled and registered and you enter the platform, you'll end up at the student console. And in your case, you will have enrolled one, and I had to complete this course to be able to create this demonstration. And when you click on the enrolled number, it will open up the course, and there is show and hide button here. And if you click show, it will open up all the modules and for the content. There is the welcome page, and all the other modules will be locked. And in my case, it's view module, but when you come here for the first time, it will say get started. The welcome module would be open for you to get started. The other modules would be locked. So when you click view module or get started, you'll end up in the welcome page. At the welcome page, there is acknowledging country by Auntie Matilda and about the program by Auntie Dulcie, acknowledgement to contributors, and a video for Katsinem. Navigating the platform is pretty easy. You can click next at the bottom of the page. It will take to the next page, or you can navigate using these buttons here. And then on the next page, Dr. Karen Martin, who you just heard in this launch, she gives an introduction to the whole program, much more in depth, and navigates you through the content of this course. Another feature that we have included is the icons. Now, this is really handy to know. All throughout the content, we have embedded specific icons. For example, this one would mean there is a video to watch, there's something to read, to think about and apply practice, something to write. And if there is an assessment, reflect and apply on practice, and key messages to take away. So these are the icons that you'll find all throughout the message. And also add content is a feature. I'll demonstrate in a sec. And glossary, where terms would be highlighted like this. And when you click, it will open up the glossary. So moving along towards the end of the welcome page, we also request or invite you to do a pre-learning survey. This program is also part of a research project, which will allow you to contribute to the survey by completing this and sharing what you know about this topic at this stage. You go back to the student console and you will move on to module 1. At the start of each module, the way we have designed it, you have a welcome to module, the topics covered, estimated time that we recommend, and also we encourage you to take breaks at different stages and the learning outcome of that particular module. Moving on to the next page. At the beginning of each module, we also have an activity. It's more like a self-assessment where you are at. Now, as I explained earlier, wherever you get a highlighted term like this, it will be part of the glossary. When you click it, it will pop up with a definition. You can read it there, and you can also view in the full glossary, and it will take you to a particular place. You can also browse the glossary and you'll see various terms. And it's very handy to understand what the terms mean in the context of this program. The other feature that is, as you go through the content, the Add Notes feature is very helpful. You can take personal notes, and wherever there is an activity and you are requested, you're invited to write a reflection, you can add those reflection notes. And every time you add notes and you save, at the end of the module, you can download that. And you can view the glossary, and you can also do a bookmark. Now, bookmark feature is very handy. You'll see when you click bookmark, this is handy when you have gone through certain amount of content and you want to take a pause. And when you click bookmark, it will put a flag here and a flag on the section. So when you log out of the system and you come back, now you can log out through here and you come back and restart. It will allow you to spot where was it that you left. And the red flag will help you identify that spot where you had left the last time you logged in. And then you can come back here and continue. And you untick the bookmark, the red flag will go away, and you engage with the content. So this is a very helpful feature. At any point in time when you're going through the course, and if you want to contact us for help, this is the contact us button. You simply fill a template with your need, your request, and someone will respond to you. The other feature, as you go through the content, so that's how the content would look. There are images, videos, models, and also reading material. And like so, more content. And as I mentioned earlier, at different stages, we provide you a recommended study break. Sometimes you may get excited and you want to cover all. We strongly feel that you need to take a pause, a break, think, reflect on what you have learned so far, and also take a break from the course and then come back. At different stages, we have got certain models that we have used to demonstrate some concept. So in this case, we have got a model, and wherever we have models, we have progressive explanations and also created an animation. I'll just play this for a few seconds. Now, when you are watching a video, either you can watch within this frame or you can click YouTube and it will open in a larger window and you can watch in that larger window, or you can go to full screen in YouTube. Okay, very good. So at the end of each module, we also have got a quiz there. So at the last stage, there is the digital badge task. We give a recommended time, some information and instructions, and then you go to the next page and you have the quiz questions. Now, the way we have structured this, this is more assessment for learning, so you can learn by doing it. This assessment would be available for multiple attempts. You keep attempting the quiz as many times as you want until you reach 80%. And once you reach 80%, that's the end. You have successfully completed the module. You go back to the console, and at the console, it will give you an indication that you have achieved a badge, and you can redeem your badge through this point. So now let's move on to module 2, for example. From the console, you can go to module 2, and I'll show you one other example of how the content is laid out. Where there are key quotes, we have used a graphic illustration and some content. So this one is an activity. You'll find activities embedded all throughout this program. Here's an example, and each activity has got 4 steps. That is, you do something like watch, read, or engage with content. Like in this case, you watch the video, then you think, reflect, and write. So do, think, reflect, and write. For each reflection, we provide a question for you to go and use Add Notes feature to write your reflection. We have got in module 3 practice-based scenarios. So here's an example of Brenda, Aboriginal registered nurse. There's a video. We have case-based learning, and we have got different roles, characters, and their videos have been captured. Here's an example. So through these case-based learning, the learners get exposed to the real life, real clinic or real practice examples. Towards the end, we have got a significant clip, a video of Auntie Dulcie Flower, who explains the life of a nurse and gives her experience, milestones, very, very enriching experience. At the end of module 3, once you have completed the assessment, the last assessment is also completion of the program, and at the end you will get an information like this that you have completed, and we also will invite you to do an end of program survey. So this is post-learning survey, which is part of the research. You did the pre-learning at the start of the program and post-learning at the end. And also we will really encourage people, invite them to do an evaluation of the program. Another thing that I would like to show before I conclude is how do the badges look. Here's an example of a sample badge. When you complete module 1 and you redeem your badge, that's an example of how it looks for module 1. And this is how it looks for module 2. And you have module 3, which is also the completion of the program. And upon the completion of the program, in addition to the badge, you'll get a certificate of completion. And here's an example. So thank you very much for your time. And it has been a very enlightening and a good experience for me being part of this project for the design of this course, this whole program. And I felt that I have transformed, and it started off with, it was a point where I didn't know what I didn't know. And then as I continued learning and designing this program, then it became quite clear that I began to know what I didn't know, and then now I know what I know. And it is not that that's the end of the learning. The whole concept of cultural safety and cultural humility is so enriching, and it's so made me feel so humble that I would want to learn more and be more comfortable with engaging with clients. Thank you very much.
We ask you to take time to reflect. Mulla Mulunggari is an 8-hour training program. It's I wouldn't even say it's the beginning. I would say it's complementary to the work that's happening in our undergraduate programs. We now have a mandatory undergraduate course, which is at an AQF level 6, but it very much is the beginning of a suite of educational and training innovations that KATSANAM will lead across the next couple of years at all. And I also want to thank publicly everyone's contributions to the development of Mulla Mulunggari. So thank you very much, everybody.